Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a word we hear all the time, development. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Progress, growth, things getting better. But what if it's not that simple? What if one person's progress is actually another person's nightmare? Okay, let's dive into this.
All right, so let's start with this. One person's progress is another's problem. This really gets to the core of it. We all think progress is this great positive thing, but is it always? That old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats? Well, is that really what's happening? Or is some boats getting completely swamped?
So I want you to think about this for a second. What does the word development actually mean to you? Is it more money, better roads, taller buildings? You see, for someone in college, it might mean landing a great tech job. For a farmer, maybe it's just getting a fair price for their crops. And for a business owner, it's probably that new factory. Now, here's the thing. All of those are totally valid goals. But, and this is a big but, they often run right into each other. Okay, look at this image. This just perfectly nails that conflict we're talking about. On one hand, you have this massive dam. And for some, that's the ultimate symbol of progress, right? It means electricity for cities, power for new industries, the whole deal. But what about the people who used to live where that water is now? For them, this isn't development. It's the complete opposite. It's losing everything. Their homes, their farms, their whole way of life, all gone. So here's our first big takeaway. It's absolutely crucial. Development isn't some single, simple goal that everyone agrees on. Not at all. It's actually a messy, complicated clash of different goals, different needs. And that's why, when we talk about national development, it can't just be about one group's idea of progress. It has to be about finding a way forward that's fair for everyone. Okay, so if development means different things to different people, how on earth do you compare entire countries? You've got these huge organizations like the World Bank, and they need some way to measure progress, right? They need a simple, one-size-fits-all yardstick. And what did they land on? Well, you guessed it, money. And the main tool they use for this is something called per capita income. Now, that sounds kind of fancy, but really it's just the average income. The logic is pretty straightforward. You take all the money a country makes in a year, you divide it by the number of people living there, and bam, you get a number. And the thinking is, the higher that number, the more developed the country must be. And just to be clear, this isn't just some abstract idea. The World Bank actually uses this one number, this per capita income, to put countries into boxes. You've got your high-income countries, your low-income countries, and so on. India, for example, lands in the low-middle-income group. So a country's entire development status can basically get boiled down to a single number. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens when we put all our faith in an average? I mean, what is that one single number actually hiding? Now this is what I'm talking about. This image just lays the problem bare. So imagine two countries, right? In country A, everyone has a chair. The money is spread out pretty evenly. In country B, one person is sitting on a huge pile of chairs and everyone else is on the floor. Now, here's the crazy part, the kicker. Mathematically, these two countries could have the exact same average income. It's wild, right? So let me ask you, which one would you rather live in? And that really is the core of the problem, isn't it? As the saying goes, average income tells us nothing about the disparity. It completely hides the gap between the rich and the poor. An average is like a blurry photo. It gives you the general shape of things, but all the crucial details, the inequalities, they're just gone. So this really brings us to the next logical step. If just looking at income is so flawed, if it hides so much, what else should we be looking at? What are the other ingredients that make for a good life, a truly developed society? All right, let's make this real. We're going to look at an example from within India. We've got two states, Haryana and Kerala. Now, if you only look at the money, at the per capita income, Haryana comes out on top. The average person there makes more. So, case closed, right? Haryana is more developed. Or is it? Well, hold on a second. Let's look a little closer. What happens when we bring in other things, stuff beyond just money? Let's start with health, specifically the infant mortality rate. In Kerala, for every 1,000 babies born, only 6 don't make it. Now look at Haryana. That number is 28. That's more than 4 times higher. Okay, what about education? Kerala's got a literacy rate of 94%. Haryana, 82%. And just like that, the whole picture completely flips. All of a sudden, that richer state doesn't seem quite so developed after all, does it? And this really drives home a fundamental point. Money in your pocket just can't buy you everything you need for a good life. I mean, sure, your income can get you a nice car, but it can't buy a pollution-free environment to live in. It can't guarantee you a society free from disease. These are things we have to build together as a community, and they are just as important, if not more so, than individual wealth. So what we're seeing here are basically two totally different ways of looking at development. On one side, you've got institutions like the World Bank, still very focused on income as the main measure. But on the other side, you have groups like the UN Development Program, or the UNDP, and they're pushing for something much bigger, what they call human development. Their whole idea is to create an index that combines not just income, but also health and education, giving them equal weight. Okay, but our picture still isn't quite complete. There's one more, absolutely critical piece to this puzzle. So far, everything we've talked about, it's all been about us, right here, right now. But what about the future? What about our kids and their kids? What do we owe them? And this brings us to this incredibly important idea of sustainable development. The definition is right there. Development that meets our needs today without wrecking the ability of future generations to meet their own. It basically asks one simple but massive question. Can we keep this up? Is the way we're living and growing right now something that can actually last? A perfect example is groundwater. You know, it's a renewable resource, technically. Rain falls, the ground soaks it up. Simple. But what happens if we pump that water out way faster than the rain can replace it? Well, then it's not sustainable anymore, is it? We're basically just draining the planet's savings account. And this isn't some far-off hypothetical problem. In many parts of India right now, people are facing a real water crisis because of this very issue. And if you think that's bad, it gets even more serious when we talk about non-renewable resources. These are the things that don't grow back. Once we use them up, they are gone. For good. I'm talking about things like crude oil. It powers pretty much our entire modern world. And according to some estimates, at the rate we're going, the world's known reserves, they'll last for maybe another 50 years. 50. That's it. That's within the lifetime of a lot of us. So the really scary question is, what happens then? What happens in year 51? So let's just recap the journey we've been on. Our whole idea of development has gotten a lot more complex, hasn't it? We started with this vague idea of progress, but saw that's tricky. Then we tried to boil it down to a single number, income. But we quickly realized that averages are a trap. They hide all the inequality. So we added in health and education to get a fuller picture. And now, finally, we've had to face this huge question of sustainability and our duty to the future. And all of this leaves us with a really profound question, doesn't it? Knowing all this, how do we balance what we need right now with what we owe to the future? It shows us that true development isn't just about getting bigger or richer. It's about getting smarter, getting fairer, and building something that's meant to last. The real question we have to ask ourselves isn't just how can we grow? It's how do we grow in a way that's good for everyone, both now and for all the people who will come after us.